Okay, great. Thank you very much for the introduction. As you may mentioned, my name is Khaled Hasan, and I'm an assistant professor in the computer science department at the University of British Columbia, Canada. So today I'm going to present a paper which is titled Exploration of Rules and Tools for Family Members to Limit Co-Located Smartphone Usage. So this work was done in collaboration with Dr. Dabajyoti Mandal from University of Saskatoon, David Armstrong from Alpen-Adria University, Austria, and Dr. Carmen Neustader from Simon Fraser University. Um, so as we all know, like smartphone have become a powerful tool and a versatile tool. So we use smartphone not only for connecting with our friends and family members, but also for accessing information anytime, anywhere. So as you like, you can see that smartphone plays a very vital role in augmenting our capabilities by supporting many of our everyday activities. However, there is a growing concern that people develop smartphone addictions. So nowadays, you can see people continue to use their smartphone in many ways, like such as with the presence of their family members, and so, like when like especially when they are surrounded by them. So as you can see in this picture, many of the family members are using their smartphones. So previous research revealed that this behavior can deteriorate relationship among family members, damage interpersonal connectedness among them, and create frustration among those family members. Now, there have been attempts both from industry and academy to develop products that help people to reduce their smartphone usage. For example, there are different apps available in the market that allow people to track their smartphone activities and motivate them to reduce their smartphone. As you can see in this, like in this screen, it's kind of just giving information about their smartphone usage and so on. But the problem is this app typically provide user with the detailed smartphone statistics. For instance, it gives you the information on the time you spent on a particular app, or the number of times a screen has been unlocked, or a number of time you use a particular app, and so on. It does not provide any information about co-located smartphone usage. So as I mentioned, as there is very little known about whether and how smartphone-based tools as well as rules can help family members to reduce their co-located smartphone usage. So in this paper, we actually followed this path. We actually explored the rules and tools-based assistant to reduce co-located smartphone usage. So to achieve that goal, to explore the what are the common rules that people commonly have and what are the common tools that people use to reduce smartphone usage, we conducted a crowdsourced survey. And in this survey, we specifically mentioned what tools or what mutual agreement people have to reduce their smartphone usage in presence of other people and what tools they commonly use. Now, before going into the like my work and results, I'd like to briefly touch about related work. So there is a growing evidence, or there are many evidence showed that the convenience of smartphone may be counterproductive, and it could lead to excessive device usage behavior. So, for instance, a recent research showed that almost half of their study participants spend more than 5 hours a day on their mobile devices. Also, there are different research results shows that this usage behavior could cause different issues such as health-related problem, lack of sleep, depression, and other major concerns. Researcher also shows that this smartphone overusage affect family relation. It can lower the quality of interpersonal communication experience, as you can clearly see from this image. Additionally, this contributes to disengagement from group interaction and decrease the sense of community feelings. Though there is significant evidence indicating the overusage of smartphone, there is very little known about what people commonly use or what are the rule and tool people commonly use to reduce their co-located smartphone usage behavior. So in this paper, we actually attempt in that particular direction, and we conducted a crowdsourced survey examining users' smartphone usage rules and tools to limit their smartphone usage in presence of their family members. So what we did basically, we designed a survey where there were several sections aiming collect related information from participants. So for instance, first there was a section where you collect demographic information such as participants' age, gender, their household conditions, and so on. And after that, we ask about participant co-located smartphone usage just to get a sense of how much time they spent on such smartphone usage when they're with their family members and so on. And we also include questions on the rules in the household. Especially, we focus on three different groups: children, like for their children, for their parent, and other adults. For instance, any senior people or any people who is more than 18-year age and so on. Also, we ask about tools. What are the tools they commonly use to reduce smartphone usage and so on? So to collect the data from participant, we use both open-ended and close-ended questionnaire. Now, what we did basically, we posted our survey as a task in Amazon Mechanical Turk, and we added some requirement for the participant. So, for instance, we mentioned that a participant must need to own a smartphone, and they be either married or in a common law or in a partner relationship, as well as they need to live in the same household. Um, and also we put a condition that they should have at least one children, as we had questions on what are the rules they apply for their children and so on. And here's kind of the summary. We like summary about the participant. We had around 80 responses, but we excluded some of the responses as participant left one or more question unanswered, or they actually provide invalid answer. So at the end, we actually get response from 59 participants, and we found that participant reported they use smartphone for approximately 8 years, and they use them for an average 3 hours per day. And also, they mentioned that they use the smartphone for a wide range of activities, starting from communication with their family members, checking social media updates and news, playing games, listening to music, and others. Now, as I mentioned, we specifically ask questions on what are the different, whether they have any rule for their family members. So we next, this chart basically shows participant response on different rules for different uh, group of family members, like for their partner, for children, and for other adults, and so on. So in the questionnaire, we explicitly ask them to mention about the like whether they have any rules for their partner, for their children, or for any adult, like as you can see in this image. So 36% of the participants mentioned that they have rules or mutual agreements regarding smartphone usage when they are surrounded by their partner. So this agreement score basically reduced to 25% for other adult. As you can see here, other adult is 25%. But interestingly, we found that they actually have lots of rules for children compared to any other group. Now, I'd like to show you the rules in details that actually applied for participants, for the partner. So I'll first show the rules for the partners, and then I'll move to other two audience, like other two groups, children and older adult. So many of the participants mentioned that they have several rules. So some of the rules are specifically for during mealtime, so they don't want their partner to use their phone during the mealtime, or especially when they are taking care of their family members, such as when they are playing with their kids and so on. And we also found that there are other situations or other locations where people have rules not to use smartphone with their partners. So some of those situations were during the bedtime, or during collaborative activities, or during an ongoing conversation. So these are the common rules that um, or common agreement people have for their partners. So we ask questions, like we ask questions to the people who do not have any rule for their partner. So we basically ask questions: how do they feel of having some rules to restrict their smartphone usage and so on. So we found that more than half of the participants welcome the idea of having rules, as it could possibly help to ensure quality time with their partner. 32% participant expressed concern about having rules or strict agreement. Those concerns are mainly due to the fear of missing communication, as one participant mentioned that they are working for a company and they might need to receive call at any time, and it's not possible to have those rules and so on. However, many of the participants provided their opinion of having some sort of soft rules rather than very strict rules to reduce their smartphone usage. We next move to the older adult section, where we ask specifically question whether they have any rules for their uh, family member except for their partner and child. So any adult like any adult living in the household within age 18 years and older. So we found that 50% of the participants mentioned that they do not have any rules for other adult in the household. The participant expressed that they believe that their adult household member are mature enough or have mutual respect, and that's why they do not follow any formal smartphone rules. So 25% of the participant said that it does not apply, it did not apply for them, as they do not have any older adult other than their parents living in their household. So these are the common responses the remaining 25% provided. So they mentioned that, like as you can see in this figure, they mentioned that mealtime and study time are the two common contexts where people have rules to restrict co-located smartphone usage. And also, as you can see here, there are some codes where it specifically mentioned that they want to make sure that they are, like during the study time, no one is using cell phone, just to make sure that they are focused on their study. And also they give some sort of evidence that like they do it manually. For instance, for to ensure study time, they ask their children or older adult to put the smartphone out of their study room or out of the bedroom and so on. Now, let's move to the rules for the children. So, as I mentioned, we found 90% of the participants mentioned that they have rules for their children and so on. So, we actually collected total 59 responses, or 59 different rules, where majority of the rules were basically time-based rule. For instance, they allow maximum 60-minute phone usage per day for their child and so on. And also we found that there are content based or app based rules. So example of uh, such rules do apply for gaming or for watching YouTube videos and so on. So those are the common content based rules that they apply. We also found that there are age based restrictions. So certain participants mentioned that they don't allow their children to use the smartphone up to a certain age and so on. And also a few participant response that they have location based rules. So for instance, they do not prefer to use their children, they do not allow their children to use the smartphone in private spaces, such as in their bedroom or in washroom. And we also ask questions like what are the common reasons that they apply those rules for their children and so on. And like participant mentioned that they have rules to ensure that their children are growing without any adverse effect from smartphone usage. And also they say that they want to ensure that they are doing proper engagement, or they are engaged with activities with their family members, which actually create a strong bonding among the participants. And the next questions we ask, like so far, we actually observe different rules that the participant have, and then we ask about the tools, whether they use any tools to reduce smartphone usage, and also we ask about whether they are aware of any tools that help them to reduce co-located smartphone usage. So only three participants say that they use such tools to track their own activities. For instance, iPhone screen time. So screen time basically tracks their own usage activities and so on. And also they say that they also use some app to monitor their children's smartphone activities, or to track or to limit their children's smartphone or internet usage time and so on. So for instance, one of the app was participant mentioned called Circle that they use to like reduce or monitor their children's smartphone usage activities. So three more participants mentioned that yes, they are aware of rules, but they could not tell us the exact app name. So only six participants, sorry, only 10 participants just mentioned that yes, they are aware of some tools to reduce their own smartphone usage or their co-located smartphone usage activity. Now, in another question, we ask about the importance of having tools to reduce co-located smartphone usage. So 75% of the participants expressed that it's very important for them to have tools to help them either monitor or control their family members' smartphone usage. So some of the participants even expressed that they like this would be extremely helpful to ensure the quality time among their family member. However, on the other side, we also observed that some participants expressed some concern regarding the privacy issues when they are using this tool to reduce their co-located smartphone usage. Like especially, they expressed that how the data would be gathered, how the data would be shared among the family members, as like many of them are not comfortable with the tools that actually invade their privacy. Now, I'd like to quickly summarize like what we found from our study. So our results basically showed that people have many rules or many agreements with their family members to limit their smartphone usage. We also observed that there are several common contexts. So, for instance, like mealtime is one of the common contexts that people apply rules or set rules to restrict co-located smartphone usage and so on. And we also observed that there are a number of rules set by the family members. It actually varies. Number of rules it varies. For instance, we found that there are more rules for children, whereas there are less rules for older adults. And also, we found that the rules widely vary according to the type of the family member. For instance, parents commonly set time-based restriction for their children. However, they do not apply any similar rule for their partner or for their parent or older adult and so on. And we also observed that many of our survey participants are not aware of any tool that could help them to limit their smartphone usage, like especially in co-located situation. However, the good sign is they express they express that it is important to have such tools. But also they mentioned that yes, as long as the tool could cover their privacy concern or address their privacy concern, they would be happy to use such tools in their everyday life. Okay, so based on our findings, here is a kind of a set of recommendation. Basically, if anyone wants to design a tool, like here are the some of the things that you may consider. The very first thing is the tool should be designed to accommodate different type of family members, for children, for older adult, or for partner, and so on. Like as you observed in our study. Also, tools should be flexible and allow users to create a wide range of tools, both in terms of strict rules and both and soft rules as well. And also, the tool should support activity awareness. That means sharing information at a certain level with other people and so on. And also, the tool should offer privacy level so that participant can select the level that they are comfortable with. Okay, a quick like this is just giving an idea of where actually we can go from here. So one of the idea is kind of we did the study with a crowdsourced study. Another idea might be conduct a large scale in lab study, or basically a one-to-one interview to just get more information. And also our participants are basically from North America, so one idea might be actually recruit participants from other different countries so that we could do some culture-based analysis on such rules and tools. And also the next step could be designing a tools based on those, like considering those privacy awareness and rules and so on. So yeah, so that's actually the overall um, um, like the idea of the paper. So in conclusion, like we basically report result from a crowdsourced survey exploring the rules and tools that people have to limit their co-located smartphone usage. And we found that yes, like there are many rules, but there are clearly lack of tools that could actually use to limit their smartphone usage activities and so on. Thank you very much for your question sharing. Now I'll open the floor for questions.
Thank you so much for the great presentation, Dr. Hassan. Is there any questions that I could take?
Uh,
Okay, a
I would have
question.
one. Oh,
Okay, here I'm supposed to just read this, I guess. Thank you for the great presentation. I think it is very important work. I am curious what you feel may be the effect of age, and then if you collected age during your survey, I could see age possibly providing different results. For example, during mealtime or in regards to children.
Yeah, sure. Like we also like from our data, we actually see the very similar trends. Like as you can see here, as age increase, we see actually less number of less for participants and so on. So as you can see, like 90% of the participants say that they have uh, rules for their children, whereas this number drops to only 25% to their older adults and so on. So definitely, you can clearly see that there is one factor is the age, where we can say that if like with the age, the rules changes, the number of rules changes. And also yes, like when we were observing the rules, so we found that for children or for younger age people, they have more versatile rules for different locations and different contexts, such as they are not allowed to use the phone during the study time, in the bedtime, or in a private spaces and so on, whether they do not have such rules for older adults and so on. So with the age, yes, definitely the number of rules changes, the type of rule it changes. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And thank you so much for the question, Bradley. And another question, probably the last question since we don't have much time left. But if you conduct your study again after this pandemic, do you think you might find different results?
Um, So we actually did this study before the pandemic, right? So my assumption is if we run this study right now, probably we'll see that probably they are flexible in rules. For instance, like if I give you an example of my daughter right now, actually I'm more relaxed to let her use smartphones uh, than other time and so on. So I can definitely, from my experience, I can say that yes, we will see that the rules are changed, or there are some softened rules rather than very strict rules for smartphone usage activity, like with children especially, and might be for other adults and so on.
Great, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the question, Sandra. Yeah, this is such an important topic, especially during this, pandemic. I can see how more important it's becoming. And thank you so much for the great presentation. I need to have
Thank
lunch.
thank you.